From, from this general account of the nature of a Buddha, we now come to consider the specific person known to history as the Buddha. His life, like that of most great religious teachers, has been adorned with miracles and legends. But from this mass of myth, a historical core can be found. And even the mythical element should not be dismissed as just pure fantasy, since much of it conveys important message at the doctrinal level. The Buddha's given name, as we mentioned, was Siddhartha. His family name was Gautama, and Buddhists know him as the Buddha Gautama, or the Buddha Shakyamuni, the sage of the Shakya clan. The dates for his life, accepted now by most historically oriented scholars, are 563 BC to 483 BC, though other dates are also recognized. Though for history the story of the Buddha begins with his birth, from the traditional Buddhist perspective, the story goes back much further. It goes back aeons and aeons into the past. For every Buddha arrives at his high attainment through a career spanning many lives. During this period, he is called a bodhisattva, a being bound for complete enlightenment. And in his successive lives as a bodhisattva, he works to perfect in himself certain virtues that come to maturity with his attainment of Buddhahood. According to the Pali sources, the bodhisattva career of our own Buddha began countless kalpas, hundreds and thousands of kalpas, aeons in the past. In the dispensation of a Buddha named Dipankara, who is the 26th Buddha before Gautama. At that time, our own future Buddha was a wealthy young man named Sumedha. When his parents died and left him a great amount of wealth, he reflected upon the impermanence of all wealth and worldly enjoyment. Then he renounced the household life and became a hermit, living in the forest, practicing meditation. One day he came into the town in order to gather supplies, and on that occasion he learned that an enlightened being, the Buddha Dipankara, was coming into the town. Then, when the Buddha Dipankara entered the town, the hermit Sumedha saw him coming, and he was so awed by his majestic bearing, by his presence, by his serenity, by his majesty, that he bowed down at his feet, right down in the mud, and he made an aspiration in his mind that he too wanted to become a Buddha sometime in the future. Then, when the Buddha Dipankara came up to him, he saw this ascetic bow down, laying down in the mud at his feet. He read his mind, and he saw his wish. Then he looked into the future, and he saw that this aspiration could succeed. And he then gave him the prediction that so many hundreds and thousands of aeons in the future, that this person would become a Buddha named Gautama. From that time on, this person, this being, became a bodhisattva in the proper sense of the term. And from then on, for hundreds and thousands of aeons, he had to dedicate himself to the development of the sublime virtues that would fructify with his Buddhahood. These virtues are called the paramis, the sublime perfections. And in the Theravada tradition, 10 paramis are enumerated. These are generosity, moral discipline, renunciation, wisdom, energy, patience, truthfulness, determination, loving kindness, and equanimity. For countless lives, life after life, the Bodhisattva toiled and strived to perfect these qualities in himself. Sometimes he would dedicate several lives in succession to the development of one parami. Sometimes he would dedicate several lives to the perfecting of another parami. Sometimes he would appear as an animal, sometimes as a human being, sometimes as a deity. Sometimes he would be striving to develop concentration and insight, living as a hermit, as a recluse. Sometimes he would be striving to perfect the other directed virtues, generosity, patience, loving kindness. Buddhahood is a totalistic accomplishment, a very complete, all-embracing accomplishment. And all the qualities that enter into this complete perfection have to be acquired gradually in bits and pieces over many lifetimes. In his last life as a bodhisattva, the future Buddha took birth as the son of King Suddhodana and Queen Mahamaya. He took birth among the Shakyan people in the northern kingdom, small kingdom of northern India, in the foothills of the Himalayas, and he grew up in the city, the capital city of the Shakyans, Kapilavatthu. His birth, according to the text, was attended by many miracles and wonders. Soon after he was born and brought back into the palace, a great ascetic, Asita, came to visit the palace, and he worshipped the newborn child. After he was born, his father, the king, called in the court astrologers to foretell his future. 8 Brahmins, noteworthy astrologers, came to examine the baby, looked at the signs of his body, consulted his horoscope, and when they finished, all the astrologers, with one exception, held up 2 fingers. The father was perplexed about this and asked, "What is the meaning of this strange sign?" The Brahmins replied, they said, "Your Majesty, a great destiny lies open for this newborn child of yours, but there are 2 possible destinies open to him. If this child of yours is shielded from the sorrows of the world, he will grow up to become a great emperor, a Chakravarti Raja, a universal emperor, who will extend his rule over many lands